What is the mission of TBS?
So the mission of the basic school is basically to graduate provisional rifle platoon commanders and Marine officers who can lead well in the fleet, who are devoted to leading Marines 24/7, who are tactically and technically proficient, physically and mentally tough. And so I'm a firm believer that the basic school provides a baseline and an ethos through training and through just osmosis of being a part of this culture that establishes a foundation that will carry lieutenants on throughout their careers.
We live on an ever-evolving planet where new threats to our way of life emerge every day. To confront these threats, America turns to the Marines. Today, the Marine Corps' youngest officers bear the weight of a monumental legacy. The future's emerging conflicts compel our Marines to look back to the heritage and heroism that has defined our organization. A heritage conceived in a small Philadelphia alehouse known as the Tun Tavern. 1777. Princeton, New Jersey. Marines fight their first land engagement, driving back British troops in a key victory for the Continental Army. (1814), Bladensburg, Maryland. As federal troops retreat around them, 100 Marines hold fast, refusing to retreat until ordered to by their commander. They stood, quote, undaunted in battle in their defense of Washington, D.C. 1861, Manassas, Virginia. Under intense rifle and artillery fire, Marines spearhead 2 valiant attacks to recapture Henry Hill.
First Sergeant Dan Daly prompts his Marines of the 73rd Machine Gun Company forward with the words, "Come on, you sons of bitches! Do you want to live forever?"
It's a grim, long, hard road. But these are the Marines, the fighting men whose brothers in arms have gone forth from here to clear the beaches at Guadalcanal and Tarawa, at Iwo Jima and Okinawa.
The demonic cold and ferocious Chinese attacks exacted terrible tolls. The threat of annihilation hung over the chosen Marines. These were hardships that few Americans had ever endured.
On the 5th day of the battle for Hue, the Marines moved out from the fortified Army compound that withstood the original attack and advanced into the empty, abandoned buildings of what was Hue University.
Ready, copy. Eddie, are you there? Eddie? Eddie?
When attacked on September 11th, America responded with ferocious resolve and once again turned to her Marines.
The Marines moved through the ruins of Fallujah, looking for any gunmen who've not fled or been killed. The fire team crosses the street.
Get on the roof!
They're going to hit you.
As the Marine Corps prepares for our next conflict, the impending challenges demand that we return to our roots as a naval expeditionary force, roots that began in 1775 during the Age of Sail.
My concern is something happens around the world. We will not have the right capability nearby where the combatant commander needs it. If we don't have enough amphibious ships, then you put at risk both deterrence and defense and the ability to respond to a crisis.
We are a naval expeditionary force in readiness. We seize or defend advanced naval bases and execute land campaigns in the furtherance of naval campaigns. The other thing that we are is a global crisis response force. We do that in partnership with the Navy as a naval expeditionary force in readiness.
So what's really, really cool for me now, after doing, very, very quick years in the FMF and being back here, is I hold the same rank that Captain Ripley did when he did all of these things. All right. So, that is what my rank demands of me. It demands of me that I perform to that level, that I am disciplined in my approach, that I am dedicated to the pursuit of whatever my craft is. It doesn't matter if it's blowing up a bridge, or if it's, prepping an admin roster that the CO really needs to know. Right? For us as a team, knowing these stories, it charges us, it inspires us for this. All right. Now, so this is our first Warrior Reflector. All right. Starting next week, it will be you guys. So it's an opportunity for us as a team to just get to know each other better and understand, hey, like Colonel Ripley impacted Captain Gilpin from a very young point in his career. I want to hear about the people that have impacted you guys in your decision to serve. And I know every other member of the platoon wants to do that. All right. Sound good?
All right.
All right. So
Introduce yourself, name, rank, billet.
yeah, Captain Lewis Bailey Gilpin Jr. I'm the Staff Platoon Commander of 5th Platoon Bravo Company 2 TAC 24. So a Staff Platoon Commander is basically a guide throughout the POI. So we are responsible for shaping a platoon of student lieutenants throughout the 6 to 8 months of the POI during the student's time in the BOC. So we primarily act as the instructors, guiding and shaping the lieutenants throughout their 8 months, in this case, 8 months in Bravo Company throughout the basic school.
My name is Sergeant Gary. I'm currently EWI, listed warfighter instructor for Bravo Company 2 TAC 24, 5th Platoon. I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Okay, so what is EWI and what role do they play within the platoon at TBS?
So EWI, listed warfighter instructor, what he or she does is shows the camaraderie between the platoon commander, which is your SPC, to show that tight bond between what a platoon sergeant and platoon commander would look like in the fleet. I'm not a platoon sergeant, I'm not doing a platoon sergeant role. I'm just here to mentor and guide you guys the best way I can, while the SPC is focusing on more bigger tasks ahead of the game. And also just to show you how NCOs are like, what NCOs can do for you and how you can use them to be that big caliber for you and your platoon.
So the adult learning method that we use at TBS is unique, and it's unique to formal school instruction throughout the Marine Corps, but it's also unique from my experience from instruction I received in high school and in college. Really, we introduce the concepts taught at the basic school through quizzes online, student handouts, and then guide applications. The guide application or guide discussion is really a forum of platform instruction that is engaging with the audience, that allows the students to get exposed to the concepts that are being taught throughout the basic school. Following guided discussions, the students are offered a plethora of forums to learn depending on what the topic is, in the form of discussion groups, tactical decision games, and then sand table exercises. Once we have refined these concepts in garrison and taught them, we then go out to the field and the students are evaluated on applying these concepts in the field environment through the various field exercises that we have throughout the POI. So again, tying back to the learning method here at the basic school, similar to the Marine Corps, we use a systems approach to training where we take the crawl, walk, run method through each area the students are taught. So the first field exercise the students encounter is FEX 0. Now FEX 0 is focused purely at the basics on camouflage and concealment, survivability in the field, building shelters, and really things as small as learning how to use night vision optics, learning how to use laser aiming devices, really focus on the fundamental skills that Marines in general should have. The field op is a couple days long, and we do a notable pond crossing where the students walk through a retention pond here on Camp Barrett, and then they have to do what's called a wet to dry drill, where they change out of their soaking wet camis, throw on their dry camis after building a shelter, and really to simulate what they will have to do when they go onto a rest cycle on later on field ops throughout the POI. In the POI, we then jump into really 3 weeks, which a week of grass week and then 2 weeks on the range.
So I'm Second Lieutenant Bonner from Beaufort, South Carolina, originally from Troy, Alabama, where I was born and raised. I'm an 0402 logistics officer, and prior to this, I was enlisted at 3531.
We're the PC during range week. Do you want to just give us the rundown of what range week or range month really looked like?
So like pretty much range week, range month was like a 4-week, waking up every morning in the stupid cold, like 19 degrees outside, wearing no warming layers, 0400 wake up, get to throw on our packs, flax, and we hike maybe 2 miles up the range.
Over 2.
Yeah, over 2 miles. We dealt with cardiac arrest hill, which was, the name was given fairly well to that. Maybe pushing 15-minute miles with weight on, which is very difficult. We got there, we shot from sun up to sundown, and we repeat for about a month straight.
Following range week, the students get into the TAC planning continuum, the land nav continuum, and then ultimately rifle squad tactics. So the garrison package of rifle squad tactics culminates with FEX 1R5. Now FEX 1R5 is focused on the Marines operating at the squad level within squads, and they conduct various squad attacks for 2 days around Camp Barrett at LZ7 and DZ Raven.
Stand by to copy. Current location. We are currently located at the squad assembly area at Tango Hotel 883660. Key terrain. So again, we've got DZ Raven located about 600 meters east of our current position. So again, we've got one main effort, 2 supporting efforts. If we see an enemy during our turkey peek, when we leave the assault position, we're leaving in a squad online. If we do not see the enemy, we're going to be leaving in a squad wedge, fire team wedge.
At the conclusion of FEX 1, the students transition to Range 5, where they conduct their first squad level live fire and movement range. Now what is unique about this is the systems approach to training. We're taking students who, weeks prior, some of the students are shooting M16s for the first time, to executing a squad level live fire range at night, non-illuminated, in a very short time. Why we do live fire is it is proof that we can assess the effects and that we can be accurate on target, and we can drive a platoon to success. Whether you're a rifleman or whether you're a platoon commander, understanding the conditions that need to be met and understanding the effects that you're looking for, you can simulate that in a force-on-force environment using blanks. However, live fire gives you a much more tangible understanding of what this looks like in actual practice.
Second Lieutenant Gammon. I'm a student naval aviator. I'm from Brownsburg, Indiana, and I want to fly Cobras in my future. We do this crawl, walk, run method where for weeks we were practicing, buddy rushing with our rifles, but never actually getting to shoot them. So it was kind of like a culminating event where we actually got to use all the stuff that we've been rehearsing, practicing non-stop for the weeks before, and actually get to try them out on some targets on a live fire range.
Spring up. Hey, spring up. Let's go.
Second Lieutenant Longo. I'm a logistics officer and I'm from Ridgefield, Connecticut.
So you held the second billet during R5, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So what was the difference between your billet and Lieutenant Gammon's first billet during R5?
My billet was at nighttime.
Effective fire! Fire move! Go! Push right, push right.
HPD PD time. Guard button. George Julie up. Ready, drop! Fire! 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 Fire!
How can an SBC shape the culture of a platoon, and what culture do you foster in Rifle 5?
So an SBC plays a primary role of building the foundation of the culture. Through establishing guidance, SBC guidance, our role is really to establish the key takeaways for us that all officers should embody eventually going from the basic school into the Fleet Marine Force for follow-on assignments in MOS schools. So culture is an important part of any unit. And as an SBC, you play a pretty critical role early on in building the students' understanding of what is culture and what do we want our culture to be. As we progress throughout the POI, the students learn more about the depth and breadth of what makes a culture, whether it be good or bad, good attributes or bad attributes, whether it is the unit leader that owns it or the unit itself. And I would argue that throughout our time at the basic school, sometimes it is the unit leader enforcing the positive attributes of that culture and showing the standard to students who are in a learning environment. But ultimately it comes to a point where the platoon owns that culture. So culture is a critically important part, whether it is the Marine Corps culture of being a warfighting organization or whether it is down to the platoon level of imbuing that warrior ethos within the platoon. As the staff platoon commander, I sought to really establish with the EWI, Sergeant Gary within our platoon, my guidance of being a professional, imbuing a bias for action, and being resilient. These three tenets were product of lessons that had been taught to me by mentors and really boiled those lessons down into those three tenets that I've been seeking to capture that throughout our time in the BOC together.
Second Lieutenant Marcotte. I'm out of Chelmsford, Massachusetts, and I'm a 7599 air contract.
So what do you want to fly?
So I'm hoping to fly the F-35B Lightning.
So the whole platoon, they call you Monkey Marcotte. Do you want to explain why that is?
Do I even got to explain it?
Let's go! There we go. Yes, sir. Go, Marcotte. Go, big jump, big jump. Yep. Moving, keep moving. Go, big jump, big jump, big jump. Moving here, 30 seconds. Take a Marcotte. There's Marcotte. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. 3 big pulls. Let's go. Whoa. Go. There we go. Good job. Good. There we go. Yep. All right. There we go. Keep it moving. There you go. There you go. There the mark. There you go. Good job. Finish strong. Finish strong. Come on, Mark. Go. Push. Push. Come on, go, Mark. You're in a minute 40. Let's go. Keep pushing. Come on, push! Come on. Come on, Marcotte! Let's go! Big pull! Go, Marcotte! Let's go! Go, Marcotte! You're at 2 minutes! Get up there! Pull! Let's go! Get up there! Go! Back down! Let's go! 210. Hey, how we feeling? Let's go, baby. There you go, dude. Let's go. Hell yeah.
So at the conclusion of FEX 1R5, the students have proven, a level of proficiency at squad tactics. The following week, we transition into patrolling, where the students get a robust understanding of scouting and patrolling, reconnaissance, what patrolling provides a platoon commander by going out and doing it. We provide them different tools for enemy analysis, building on their understanding of MET-T and the combat order, ultimately culminating in PEX. So PEX is patrolling exercise where the first day of PEX is basically conducted at the squad level, and then the following 2 to 3 days of PEX are conducted at the platoon level, where the platoon is kicking off patrols to learn about the enemy in the battle space. PEX is unique within the student development because it's the first field op where they're conducting force-on-force training. The beauty of force-on-force training, which from PEX onward, Because really all the students are doing is they are fighting against a thinking, breathing enemy, an enemy with a similar level of training. So it is an opportunity to test the students' critical thinking abilities and their ability to really know and understand their enemy.
I'm Second Lieutenant Kennedy. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I am an 0301, which is an infantry officer waiting to go through infantry officers course.
So you were a PC during PEX, correct?
Correct, yes.
So it was our first force-on-force engagement in continuous operations. Do you want to talk a little bit about your role and some of the challenges the platoon faced?
Absolutely. So PEX was our patrolling exercise. It was roughly 3 days. Started off with an insert into an LZ and then make movement into the tree line and establish a patrol base from which we would operate for the next few days. Movement through the tree line, a 2.5 click movement roughly to our patrol base, and then establishing that, getting security set up, the battle rhythm of everything. It's difficult. And as a platoon commander, you are driving all the actions that need to be taken, and then your platoon sergeant is taking your intent and making it happen. So if I decide that security needs to be changed, or if I decide that we want to send out patrol, I've got to do all the back end work and all the thinking and the planning in a short amount of time and space to get that patrol out to do actions. So for me, that was really difficult because you have to worry about that, you have to worry about the platoon, you have to worry about the enemy. It's always enemy first, enemy always. And so as a PC, you're juggling a lot of tasks, and that can get mentally demanding. And you're already fatigued from maybe the heat, maybe the cold, maybe you didn't get a lot of sleep the night before. So juggling all that with the human factors is difficult, but it's extremely rewarding because you realize just how resilient you can be and just how much you can do when you're super stressed out.
So at the conclusion of PEX, the students jump into crew serve weapons FEX, where they get familiar with all the crew serve weapons that Marines have at their disposal. They shoot the 50 cal, the Mark 19, the M240 Bravo.
Second Lieutenant Alex Merrill from Milton, Massachusetts. I'm a 0203 Ground Intelligence Officer.
You were PC during like the beginning of a platoon package.
Yes.
Right? So during that, we had crew serve weapons FEX. In like a few words, describe crew serve weapons FEX.
Crew serve weapons FEX, some gangster red meat shit. You just get to fire M240s, 50 cals, Mark 19s, and just lay fucking hate.
The M240 Bravo, and then ultimately jump into 2 weeks of offense-defense package where they're learning platoon tactics at that point. So that 2-week period includes 7 formal garrison events, 4 TDGs, and 3 sand table exercises, all within 2 weeks, which ultimately culminates in offense-defense FEX. Offense-defense FEX is 1 week in the offense, 1 week in the defense, where a platoon of students is basically pairing off with another enemy platoon, whether they're in the offense or defense, and having to apply all the concepts that they learned from FEX 1R5 in the Rifle Squad Tactics package to scouting and patrolling, culminating with PEX, and then applying it for platoon-level offensive and defensive operations.
Yeah, I'm Second Lieutenant Joseph Hoyman. I am a 0302 infantry officer, and I'm from Pennsylvania.
And then you held the Platoon Commander billet during the defense. I just want to describe on what the defense was like.
Yeah, so the defense is essentially trying to stop the enemy from moving through a specific position. So in our defense, we had a blocking position set up in a trench line, and then we had to hold that against the enemy. For the defense, we started by conducting a leader's reconnaissance. So me and a number of key personnel went out to the proposed defense site. We then spread out, looked around for the best spot to set up. And then once we determined that, headed back, grabbed the rest of the platoon, and then really just started digging in. So that looks like digging a skirmishers to begin with. So that's like a hole that you can lay in. And then once we had those done, we continued going deeper and deeper to the point where some people had overhead cover, where it's like a little bunker they can hide in. Simultaneously, we were also sending patrols out. So we want to make sure that we keep the enemy on their toes, and that even in the defense, where we're really doing what Marines are meant to do and closing with and destroying the enemy. And another purpose of those patrols was to ensure that the enemy didn't flank our position. So we'd send patrols out on either side so that they could engage the enemy, driving them towards the front of our defense, and then they'd get caught in our engagement area, or our kill zone, more or less, at which point we could destroy them.
Some 8.
I'm Lieutenant Davidson. I was born in California, and I've lived in Prescott Valley, Arizona pretty much my entire life. I contracted with a flight contract as a 75-99, and I hope to fly Hueys one day, but keeping my options open.
And then you held the billet of Platoon Commander during the offense. Just want to, I guess for the audience, describe what the offense was like.
If I could describe the offense in 5-6 words, it's risky, uncertain, dangerous, electric, and rewarding. So I was the 3rd platoon commander on day 3 to be in charge of the platoon during our offensive time, and honestly it was a big learning experience. Everything that we did we had to make on the fly. As soon as the platoon commander ahead of you was done, everything that got passed off to you was the radio, everyone's billet changed, so now you had new squad leaders, you had new equipment, and you just kind of had to make it work. And it was grueling but rewarding. Some of the movements required getting closer to the enemy. Higher had us pretty far away initially, where they wanted us to go. So I had to change some things up a bit, and I had to push us a little further than we wanted to go through the night with main packs. And as we all know, traveling in the dark with packs on is not very fun. But once we got there, we got the ball rolling, and we had a good idea of where the enemy was at. We initiated our attack, which was also made up on the fly through quick decision making through me and my peers, but we ended up being successful through speed and aggression. So we ended up setting up a really good support by fire position. We had a piece of the offense that was able to sweep through the enemy's defense, which I'd like to add that they did have a lot of warning, knowing that we were coming, but they chose not to capitalize on that, so we ended up having that victory.
I'm out of ammo. Let's go.
At the conclusion of O&D, the students jump into the back end of their live fire continuum with range 15 and range 11, which range 15 is a platoon pure live fire range at day and at night, and then range 11 is a platoon reinforced day live fire shoot.
I have it. I can actually legitimately connect it to my Polaroid and do some remote timer shit. Your Polaroid actually does that? Yeah, it's a Bluetooth capability. Yeah. It also.
Orientation. We are currently located at our platoon assembly.
I'm Lieutenant Chase Goslin, also known as Goose.
Okay. And where are we today?
Today we're at our R15, range 15, live fire range.
Okay. And what billet are you holding today?
Today I held Platoon Commander. Good fun.
All right. You just want to explain what we're doing today at R15?
Yeah, so today we're kind of putting together the maneuver and fires. So we have basically we have a maneuver element, and then we have an element that goes into support by fire position. So it's kind of like putting suppression on the enemy and then allowing the maneuver element to move and assault the enemy.
Hey, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Wide open! 200 meters! 1 every 5! 1 every 5! Fire move! Fire
R15 is conducted during the day and at night, and is really a culmination of all the machine gun considerations, all of the appropriate sequencing of events that they experience during O&D, but the students are able to see it on a live fire range and truly feel the effect, the momentum that comes with a live fire attack. And then the culmination of all of this training is Range 11, which is the culminating live fire event throughout the POI. This is a platoon reinforced with 2 machine gun squads supporting a maneuver element on a pretty vast range, but by doing platoon offense and defense and package, we build a strong baseline, a strong foundation in the students' conceptual understanding of this, and then we go out to R15, when we go out to R11, it acts as a proof of concept to really reinforce the focus points that we want to walk away with, and that the students walk away with as, provisional rifle platoon commanders upon graduation.
And then you also were the platoon commander for R11.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the week before we did R15. Just want to explain the difference between R11 and R15.
Yeah, of course. So the difference between an R11 and R15 was now we had machine guns and a support by fire element on the range with us, separate from the maneuver element. Keep in mind what would happen in real life. Like, you're going to have machine guns setting suppression and setting conditions for a maneuver element to actually come from the side. So even scarier than shooting in front of you next to your buddy, you have people shooting across from you. So I think that taught me a lot about managing risk and safety, making sure people are safe, but also getting to the objective, getting the mission done as fast as possible.
Trump, right here! 1 every 3! 1 every 3! FX, TRP1, shift to TRP1. 200 meters! 1 every 5! 1 every 5!
A big part of WWII's culture was bringing the Sawdust. Can you explain the meaning of bringing the Sawdust and how you introduced it to the platoon?
Absolutely. So, Bring the Sawdust came from advice from a mentor of mine, where a unit's culture and esprit de corps, and having a tagline that you can kind of tie longer form examples of what a culture is, and bring that to 5th Platoon. So Sawdust, if we go back to the age of sail, in the words of Lieutenant Rowe, was something that was on naval ships when ships were made of wood, men were made of steel, and it was always present. And so when Marines would engage in naval combat, back in like the late 1770s during the American Revolution, that was primarily what Marines were doing. They were marksmen on ships, they were boarding parties, they were maritime raiders participating in this naval irregular warfare. And so Marines would use sawdust that was ever present on these ships to throw down on the decks of the ships, so then when they would go over the breach to engage in close combat with the enemy, the decks would get slick with blood, and the sawdust would enable the Marines to posture their fight to grip and fight with pistols, boarding axes, swords, knives, anything they had at their disposal. I think the beauty of this small historic example is it's a testament to Marines' ingenuity and their ability to use simple solutions for complex problems that ultimately result in taking every opportunity to stack the deck in the favor of the unit. And so for the Marines of Bravo 5, when we introduced this theme to the platoon, It was during range week, second week at the range. It was our second night shoot, and we were getting ready to hike back from, really a long week of training. We just established our baseline fundamentals as marksmen, as Marines are, and we pulled the team in, getting ready to step. It's late at night. And I basically explained our naval heritage and how, even though we've been fighting landlocked battles for the last 20 years, being an expeditionary force in readiness is still an ever-present part of who we are. So I spoke about the beginnings of what Sawdust was, our roots as a naval force in readiness, and then basically pulled a handful of sawdust out and threw it on the deck to show the Marines, hey, like, this is who we are, like, this is what we do. We take every opportunity, we seize every advantage to set ourselves and our units up for success. Tying back to what we talked on earlier, is culture the unit leader? Is it the unit? I think the platoon has embodied that ethos and that identity more than I ever could have hoped. At the conclusion of R15, R11, the students begin their preparation for motorized operations. So they do a motorized operations package in garrison, and then they do a one-day half platoon size field op, testing their ability to do convoys.
My name is Second Lieutenant Spencer James Reed. I am an 0402 logistics officer, and I'm from Ashburn, Virginia.
And you were the convoy commander for Moto Ops. If you could describe Moto Ops or Moto Operations in like a few words, what would it be?
Yeah, so we had 6 vehicles. We had 2 JLTV highbacks and 6 up-armored Humvees with 240s mounted to them. So we had a resupply mission. We had brought supplies and water to a unit that was about a couple miles away. We resupplied them and then took contact right afterwards. So the biggest preparation thing that you need to take into consideration there is signal plan, as well as just how everything's going to move, where you need to go, what needs to happen.
Contact right. We got way to fall! 103! 103! Contact right! Contact right! Get online! Action right! Action right! Fire move! Move back! Work out! Work out! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
And then we transition into MOUT, which is Military Operations in Urban Terrain, which is the most complex AO to operate in here at the basic school that we teach. We are applying a new method of delivering orders, the parts-based order, which is a lot of what the students will see when they enter the Fleet Marine Force. And we basically, very similarly within that construct, as we start out with a day teaching basic urban skills, a day doing mount squad attacks, and then we progress to platoon attacks and urban patrol, and ultimately culminate that field op with a transition to war. Now, why Mountain War unique is it is 11 continuous days in the field. So in the crawl, walk, run method, if you look at the timing spent in the field from each of these field ops, it is slowly progressing into war, where it is just continuous operations. So we are kind of inch by inch, even though at times it feels like mile by mile, progressing into building the resilience within the student population within the company so that they can endure a longer duration field operation. So transitioning from out into war, when we get to war, what is unique about war is it is not AI instructed. There's minimal coaching given. There's a company advisor for the company split in half with Alpha Group and Bravo Group, and the company basically goes to war with each other. And so what's really, really cool about war is it's an opportunity for these students to make decisions and then suffer or succeed based on the effects of those decisions, again, facing off with their peers at a company strength.
You know, limited suppression at that point from Charlie 6 and Charlie 4. But we've got guns and we've got Charlie 2 that's going to cover that.
Okay, so we have cover by fire, and then we have the obscuration from our fire support. 100%. 100%. So, for you guys, what is the secret ingredient to execute this? Violence. Violence. You guys know, hey, Captain Gill's a big fan of fucking violence. Savage violence is the only tradition that matters. The only tradition that matters. So for us, I want you guys to think all the way back to range week, right? The first time you guys heard the words leave my mouth about like bringing the fucking Sawdust, okay? Again, hey, like, I'm not an idiot. I knew that probably landed. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? We barely got this guy. But that's okay. Because the secret ingredient when we're talking about breaching from a ship to ship, there are a lot of pieces at play. There are a lot of sequences that go into motion. But ultimately what we need is that close interpersonal violence. When you have Marines crossing the gun decks, boarding another ship, and like you guys know, they are stacking every single advantage they can. So when they go to close or when the enemy comes to them, hey, we are going to take every opportunity to make the enemy fucking pay. So when we talk about this scheme maneuver, when we talk about interpersonal violence, and we talk about bringing the Sawdust, the question is, hey, like what difference is there between the Marines in this room and the Marines out there in the tree line getting ready to assault? Our understanding and our posture for interpersonal violence is what is going to be the delineation in this fight. Like, that is our bid for success. We have a plan in place. We have a good plan in place. We know what needs to happen, right? But hey, if we steel ourselves to the violence to come, hey, we will get a leg up. This is a winnable fucking battle. But it all comes down to every single fucking Marine in this room, hey, being postured. So that way when these guys come up the stairwell, hey, the Sawdust in the room, it's going to soak up the blood on the stairs, it's going to soak up the blood on the concrete floors, and it's going to soak up the blood in the fucking street when they try to cross that linear danger area. Right. So let's get out there and make them fucking pay. Right.
If you could describe mountain war in one word, what would it be?
Chaos.
Hey, you're on. One car. Go. Hey, take a fire seat, get eyes on me. I need someone on me. Top window! Got moving! Hey, top window! Hey, you're on. We're fine. we're clear. Friendly, friendly. It's the tunnel. Let's go,
"29 days. In 29 days, you guys are going to graduate. You guys are going to shotgun to every corner of the globe. You guys are going to lead in every entity of the MAGTF, quite literally, every Marine in this formation. You guys will lead roughly 1,656 Marines within your first 6 months of hitting the field. Your leadership will impact tens of thousands of Marines within your first 3 years. That's the reality. This team we have here, in 29 days, this team will cease to exist. A team like this will never exist again. This team will never exist again in 29 days. Hey, but tonight the team is fucking here. The team is fucking here. Alright, so hey, we got a couple weeks for sure. Hey, but tonight we're here to do one thing, and one thing only, and that is to bring fucking carnage, fucking violence to the enemy in Charlie sector. Right? All I gotta say, we gotta do what we do fucking best and bring the fucking Sawdust. So I think as a staff platoon commander, this is one of the most exciting parts, because the Marines within my platoon, the Marines in the company, they're going to shotgun blast to every corner of the United States, every corner of the globe, truly. Most Marines will go straight to their MOS schools. Some Marines will go to flight school. Others will go check in straight to their units and do on-the-job training prior to going to MOS school. But I think what is truly rewarding as an SPC is seeing all the great things that the Marines, specifically within my platoon, but the company as a whole, will go and do. And they will go and do it well. They will lead well. They've been set up. They've been postured for success. And so what's left for us is graduation, and then it's off to the races. And I think instead of viewing TBS as a finish line, it's really the start of something great. Whether Marines do 4 years in this organization or whether they do 30 years, the lessons that they learn here, as I mentioned earlier, they serve as a foundation for them to continue to grow and refine and lead others well, truly.
And what message would you like to send to the lieutenants in Bravo 5 as we move forward to our next journey to the FMF?
Don't be a good leader, be a responsible leader. And what I mean by that is take the tools that you have learned here to be responsible when you go out there to the fleet. You can be a good leader and do the basic Marine things, but to be a responsible one, you're waking up every single day, doing what you have to do, getting ahead of the game when you need to, looking out for your Marines when you need to do this, when you need to do so, or when you're not needing to do so. Just taking ownership of what you learn here and taking ownership of being a Marine Corps officer. I do not want you guys and gal to the Walker to go into the fleet and forget everything that you guys have learned here and from your MOS school and to where it was all for nothing. So definitely take what you guys learned here. Definitely become great Marine Corps officers, responsible Marine Corps officers. Semper Fidelis.
Easy. They're roughly alphabetical. All right, so if you guys think back to the very beginning, our first day together, we met in a classroom just like this, and Sergeant Gary and I introduced ourselves. So now for us as a team in the same spot, the majority of the platoon is going to find out what the next couple years of your lives look like. It is very, very exciting. Like, I am very excited. I'm very happy with how the process worked out for this team. Now, thinking back to my time as a second lieutenant, I got my 11th choice of MLS. Yeah, shit. I got my 11th choice of MOS, right? So, fucking hurt. I was, right at the bottom of the third. At the time, we had really shifted from a lot of horse trading back to like strict natural fall where it lands, and there wasn't a lot of play with it. I took it hard. Like, I had a pretty tough time with it. And a couple days after MOS reveal, my SPC sat down with me, and he told me, hey, like, MOS is important. It's important, but it's not everything. What's important is that you get to lead Marines. Like, that is what's important. And when he told me that, like, in the moment, I didn't want to believe it. I think selfishly, I was like, no, like, I would be better if I was leading Marines in the community that I want to lead Marines in. But in the back of my head, I knew he was right. I knew he was right. Now, fast forward a couple years, I mean, maybe not that much, I get back from my first deployment. And I just got done with an extremely fulfilling time with my platoon, 43 Marines out in the desert, and I just turned over my platoon. And randomly, I reached out to him about something. He said, hey, let's touch base on Saturday. I'd love to call it, hear how things are going. So I call him on Saturday. I was like, hey, sir, you probably had this conversation with a lot of lieutenants at TBS. But I just want to tell you, you were fucking right. You were absolutely right. Now, that same time frame out in SoCal, I was having a cookout at my house with a dear friend of mine who he got MOS that was very, very low on his priority list. He wanted to be an infantry officer, ended up being a communications officer, and he did phenomenal as a commo. He's had a lot of really, really cool experiences. He's at Naval Postgraduate School. And he told me something that in the moment was extremely profound. And he said, your Marines don't give a shit what your MOS preferences at TBS were. They just want to be led well. They just want to be led well. So for those of you that don't get your number one, right, and I can speak to you because like I've been in the seat, I understand. Hey, I'll give you today, I'll give you the weekend, I'll give you a week. Right? Give yourself that time. Because I'm not saying it's not going to bite. It is going to bite. But at the end of the day, I want you guys to keep in mind that like the Marines you will lead are owed the fucking best. They are owed everything you have to give them. And I am very, very proud to be your SPC. So I'm here.
Let me straight honest with you, 5. It doesn't matter what MOS you get. It doesn't. It matters what you do in MOS. So what MOS you guys get, just know that when you guys go to the MOS school, that you guys do the job that's supposed to be done, right? Because I owe that to peers that you guys are going to be leading. I owe it to my peers too back in the infantry community. So, like, me personally, like, I care what you guys get, but I don't care because you guys are supposed to be leaders. That's what you guys have to be here for, right? All
right, 5. Hey, here's you guys.